Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. So, do you have any parts that you would like to change your relationship with, get to know better, or any trailheads, anything that's been up for you lately that you want to talk about?
I'd like to get to know better the overworked part because I do not, how should I put it? Because it came up strongly now in the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really, how should I put it, come up verbalized, but because there's polarizations with the overworked part.
Okay.
Because on the one hand, there's basically this part I'm calling the overworked part. It's hold on, I think I did really write down some details to it in the past, but in general, it's young energy, so it's a much younger part. So it's definitely not from my adult self, so to say, or perhaps it's a young adult, but not from a current era, so to speak. And but on the other hand, there's on general this polarization because on the other hand, I do enjoy working, I do enjoy doing, but basically with the polarizations always going back and forth, and then I do tend to overwork myself, so to not give myself enough rest. So then at times this gets this part, of course, gets so loud that then, but how should I put it? With how loud it gets, it also gets with a lot of self-hate, self-hate because of not giving myself the rest that, at least in this part, I would need.
Got it. Okay. So the part that enjoys working, the part that feels overworked, and then this part that has this hate or shame or guilt around not getting that rest. Does that sound right? We're kind of identifying them?
The way I understood it so far is that the overworked part is the one that has basically that response in hate when I don't give myself the rest that from, let's say, the point of view of the overworked part I would need.
Okay. All right, yeah, we can focus on that one. So yeah, when that comes up, how do you notice it? Where do you notice it in or around your body?
In the body, I begin to notice it around my chest area, around the heart. Um, it's always visualized like how should I put it? Also, or that's where it begins. Like for example, now I do notice that today I overworked myself a bit, so I noticed that around the heart it feels like I just noticed now because with my inner vision, the eyes closed, it's kind of like there's a knife in my heart. So, and knife in your heart is associated with betrayal. And to be honest, I am on the one, so in one part at least, I'm trying to not overwork, to at least work, let's say, regular hours. So,
Right.
I didn't notice until now. So basically, to be honest, at least in one part, unfortunately, seems like I'm betraying myself. Wow.
Yes. Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm amazed that with you right now, I'm in so much, I don't know if it's let's say at least self-like part that I can witness this without, let's say, real judgment. Of course, compassion, because I feel sorry for the overwork part and I feel bad about the betrayal.
Yeah.
But like not the stereotypical negative thing. That's like a new amazing moment for me now.
It is amazing. Yeah, great. Yeah. Okay, so the way you're feeling towards this part that has the self-hate, yeah, how do you feel towards it?
Understanding, and I should put it, and sorry. Not sorry for the part, sorry that that there's that I couldn't get or couldn't resolve the polarization as much yet as I would already have liked to do so.
Yeah, sounds like compassion also.
True, compassion. Yeah, that's probably the better term for it.
Great. Okay. I'll see if you can let it know that you're feeling that way about it. That you're feeling compassionate towards it. That you are.
There I noticed the young energy because the instant response was, being sorry doesn't really help me from getting overworked when you don't, let's say, stick to the principle.
Right. Yeah. Does that make sense that it has that response?
It does.
Yeah. And does that, when you hear that response from it, how do you feel? What's your feeling towards it?
Well, it makes me, to be honest, it makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
I understand it, but yeah, to be honest, it makes me feel bad because in the end, I just want to be good to myself.
Yeah.
But there's how should I put it? So I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's also, how should I put it? I guess we're probably gonna get to that in future episodes. But there's also deeper self-hate that isn't, how should I put it, resolved as of yet. That isn't really that I'm only getting to know now. So I do know that there's deeper laying, let's say, or at least deeper parts that need to be addressed as well in order to get this, let's say, issue resolved.
So you can send a message to those other parts that you do want to get to know all of them.
Oh yeah.
And if you're feeling kind of sorry towards this part, you can show it that and just let it know that this is its chance. This is your time with it to learn more about it and to help. If there's something that you need to do differently or you need to learn differently about it, that you're here and you're present to do that now. And then you might just ask it what else it wants you to know about it.
Basically, at the moment, it doesn't want me to know more about it. At the moment, it just wants me to take a break.
Okay. Yeah. And so yeah, it's you've kind of worked with this part in the past in that you've made agreements to take those breaks, right?
Exactly. Yeah. How should I put it? Or to, well, not really to take these breaks. How should I put it? No, that's a wrong way to say it. I didn't make agreements
Okay.
to take breaks, but what I did was to basically, I was with the trauma, I was scared shitless of my parts. And so the first thing I did then with starting to practice radical honesty, which then led to FS, was to decide to get to know them and to
Yes.
basically to at least try to take more breaks. If
Yes.
I'm perhaps maybe not can literally take those more breaks, I would like to at least try to do so. So at least there's an action that I do daily. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so this part is saying that it doesn't have more that it wants to share with you.
Let's see if it wants to share something else. Not any details, but it's thanking me for the attention we're giving it now.
Great. Yeah. You could try asking, and we don't have to keep asking it questions if it's not up for it, that's fine. But you could try asking what it's afraid would happen if you didn't, if you do overwork.
Well, basically let's say the brutal fear is that I'm gonna die because I already was burned out in the past, and that when I had that burnout, I did have the symptoms of a stroke, but it wasn't a stroke.
Wow.
And how should I put it? Psychiatrists back then in Austria didn't take burnout seriously when I had it. So basically, I just kept working with it.
Wow.
And I since then, before then, about 2 years ago, I started to deal with the trauma. Until then, after the burnout, I did luckily only grow benign growths. But I grew benign growth. So it's scared that I'm gonna die if I keep overworking myself.
Okay, so see if you can show it some appreciation for its intention to keep you from doing that.
It's glad that we're understanding its good intentions.
Great. Now, you had mentioned wanting to get to know this part better. So if there are other questions that you have for it, I would say go for it. Or we could shift to, maybe talking to the part that this part fights with, but talking to the part that pushes you to work, as it does.
Yeah, that would be very interesting because, how should I put it? That's, I guess, also why I'm, let's say, for now in the getting to know stage of the parts, because when you suggested more questions, I did notice a fear coming up of more questions. So it's kind of blocking, let's say, ideas of what else I could ask.
Sure, and that's I got a big list of them here, so I don't mean to just throw you out on your own, but I want to make sure that you having wanted to understand this part better. I only want to
I wouldn't because how should I put it? Because that's also, I don't know. Well, I did put it. How should I put it? When I'm not sure if something is a part or if it's an action of a part or a trait of a part, I put it then as a part either way until I notice, okay, that's not actually a separate part. That's the trait of an, let's say, existing part already. I noticed that. So basically, for now, I'm calling it a part because I'm not sure if it's a trait or not. But anyway,
It's fine.
I'm scared, let's say, shitless from self-responsibility. So basically, that I need a guiding hand to feel safe when I discover myself more.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I understand that. Would you like to talk to that part for a moment? The part of you that's scared of doing this work or needing guidance doing this work?
Yeah, that would be so. Basically, in the end, we have so many interesting options to go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm open to pretty much anything, so to say,
Okay.
because something I noticed in IFS so far as well is that as we were talking about the strong in the vision earlier, when a part is, let's say, when I know it exists or the trait of the part exists, but it's, how to put it, when there's an incredible wall of fear or something, it's like, how should I put it? There's let's say a huge, incredibly thick glass wall between me and the part.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, how should I put it? So it's kind of like, I know it's there. I know I can see, hear, potentially feel its effect, but there's this automatic dissociation because something doesn't want me to reach that part consciously yet.
Right. Right.
And with this, how should I put it, guidance or having a guiding hand does help in general.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
At least that's the way I experienced it up until now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're doing great. I mean, it's very common, especially when people who are new to this. There's lots of jumping around. There's lots of parts vying for your attention, and it's normal and fine to have them all coming up and addressing them one at a time as best as we can.
Then, to be honest, I would be most interested in talking to the part that is so scared of or about self-responsibility.
Okay. Where do you notice that in or around your body?
Incredibly strong around the solar plexus area. Going up, but to be honest, I'm not sure if that's if the origin is in the solar plexus area and going up to the heart, or if the origin is in the heart and going down to the solar plexus. But basically, heart and solar plexus is where I feel it strongly.
Okay.
And I feel it a lot stronger on the left side of this area than on the right side.
Okay. And you said you were feeling curious about it. Are there any other ways that you're feeling about it now or towards it?
There's a bit of a fear of the unknown, but also there's excitement with it as well.
Yeah. And do you feel like you have permission from those parts to go forward and to get to know this part a little better? Or you might ask them to, for permission there? I might ask them for a little space.
The parts that I discovered up until now, they approve of it because they're pretty much like in worst case we can abort the mission.
Absolutely.
But the fear and excitement is coming from someplace else. That's from parts I didn't discover up until now.
Yeah. Just again, send that broadcast out to all of them that you'd like to get to know all of them, and that at least the only way I know is this kind of one at a time.
a general message instantly came back that was like, we're not sure you can handle it yet.
Yeah, sure. And we want to respect that. So we're not going to push past anything that has that concern.
Mm-hmm.
So you might kind of just ask those parts what their concern is. What would happen if you couldn't handle it? What would that look like?
Basically, it always comes down to fear of death and to, or prior to death, to not wanting to suffer because I already suffered so much in my life.
Right? They don't want to go back there.
Yeah, they don't want to go to the emotional pain, exactly.
Right. Good. That makes sense. Yeah. So just let them know that we're not going to go anywhere that doesn't feel safe for you. And that you were absolutely right about aborting. You know, it's perfectly fine to put one toe in the water and then say, that's enough. That's perfectly fine.
Exactly, yeah. Because as you just said about respecting everything, that's something that I also find so amazing about this work, because yes, as I said about because yeah, as we were talking about the parts I got to know so far, them approving it because they trust me enough to see that I can try step by step to see how far I get.
Yeah, good. Thank them for that.
Wave of love from, let's say, me to them and from them to me was just exchanged.
Great. So I know we've talked about going to a handful of different parts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an intuition about where you'd like to go now?
As with the subject of self-responsibility, seems like that's a bit. There's a bit of let's not too. Yeah, let's just say too much of a defense there. Something I'd like to at least get to know in general, not necessarily, let's say, find a solution or something. Just to get to know is the parts that are in me that basically drive me to work so much.
Great. I think that's wonderful that you're able to respond so well to those parts. And like you said, if something feels like too much, you know, you can do a little negotiating, but you also just respect how that feels. So that's great. Yeah, let's turn to that part that does work so hard. Where do you notice that?
That I noticed, interestingly, on the right side of the body, on the back of my shoulder, like on top of the shoulder blade.
How do you
I
feel?
noticed with that, now that you say it, I already noticed that some time ago at the work. When I allow this part just to be, let's say bodily, it feels like this probably that's the wrong word I have in mind now. The epitaph, probably the epitaph, the wrong word, but or the saying, carrying so much weight on my shoulders. Because the more I allow this part to be, the heavier or the more strain I feel on my shoulders.
Right. And how do you feel towards it now as you notice it there?
I guess there's a bit of, let's say, everything, because everything as in that there's a bit of disembodiment again as well, because on the one hand, I feel compassionate, sad for it, that it has to work so hard, that it always has to do so much. But on the other hand, how should I put it? It's a bit, how should I put it? It's these feelings, but it's in a numbed state that I cannot, that there's still a bit of a disconnect, that the connection isn't fully there yet.
Right. Okay.
So I do have these feelings. The part gets that I have these feelings, but there's, let's say, an interruption that it doesn't get through in the full quality.
Okay. So you're talking about your connection with this part that pushes you to work so much?
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
so that there's still a dissociation. It's less of a dissociation than usual. So
right.
It's much less of the, let's say, the working autopilot that happens when this part takes over.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a bit of a dissociation.
Okay. All right. Well, you could just let it know that you're curious about it. See if you can keep tuning into it. Try to access it in whichever way you can, in a deeper way.
Seems like it has a bit of a dry humor or a dry way of expressing itself.
Uh-huh.
Because the first thing it said when I started connecting, when they asked about how it feels bodily, was like, well, we gotta prove our worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Because up until IFS, I literally defined, or how should I put it? I couldn't separate between the person and the action of the person.
Right.
So I always had defined myself with work as well. I still obviously define myself a lot with work, but less now than I used to, and so on, because this this understanding of the operation starts to happen. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just so you know that, you don't have to explain that to me. I appreciate that, but just staying with the part.
Oh, thank you.
showing it that you understand, or that it makes sense to you, that message of having to prove your worth. And it makes sense to me, so.
And damn, that's a good point, because I already was told in the past that this is sort of a mechanism that disembodies me again when I explain it. So like that's a protection mechanism. So thank you for the reminder to not explain so much.
Sure. Well, that's just another part. There's just a part that wants to share the story about it. A lot of times we have parts that they really want to express themselves outwardly in a certain way, and that's fine. They're very useful. All parts are welcome. But we're trying to get it to between self and between this part that feels this way. So this part that works so hard, what else does it want you to know about it?
I didn't ask that yet, but intuitively I asked it, is there something else I can do? And to that it responded with, well, you could do some more meaningful work.
Okay.
Because in my day job, I'm by title an online marketing manager. In reality, it's more like digital project manager, and it's a cool job. I enjoy the tasks themselves, but to be honest, it's meaningless. Absolutely meaningless.
And again, going back to kind of how this part is feeling, or what it wants you to know. So I'm hearing that it has one message of it wants you to know it would like you to do more meaningful work. What else does it want you to know about it? About its role, about its experience?
that it's a really fucking hard job.
Yeah. How long has it been doing that job?
For as long as the part can remember.
Yeah.
And when I reflect back, the first time I can consciously remember this part is in my teenage years.
Okay.
So at least 18 years by now.
Yeah. So just show it that you see how hard of a job it is, and you see how long it's been doing that. And ask it what it's afraid would happen if it didn't work so hard.
That I'm gonna end up as a loser on the street.
Yeah. And this might seem like a silly question, but what would be so bad about that? What does it mean to this part to be a loser on the street?
Well, how should I put it? All parts I discovered so far, and in general myself, I know that I don't live up to my potential, and that I could be much, let's say in general, in everything in life, I could be more than I am currently.
Mm-hmm.
And how should I put it? This now already, for example, this part has I'm not sure if it's this part, but I do notice a not acceptance of the current state of my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for this part, that's working so hard to prove its worth and that would like to do more meaningful work. It would be bad to be on the street because that would be the ultimate proof of basically being worthless because of
Yes.
completely having failed to live up to the potential I know I'm aware of.
Yes. Yes. That is so common. That those feelings of worthlessness are what it's trying to protect you from. So see if you can show it appreciation for working so hard and its intention to keep you from those feelings. Just see how it reacts to you showing it appreciation.
It's interesting. It's different from the other parts in its emotional reactions because, as I was saying in the beginning, it's a bit more and dry in the communication.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, man, don't hug me.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't hug me because I'm just doing my job.
Right. But it did say that it's a really hard job. It sounds like it's not a very pleasant job. What would it rather be doing with its energy inside of you if it didn't have to work so hard? If you could change or heal those feelings of worthlessness, for example, and it didn't have to worry about that, what would it rather be doing inside of you?
At the moment, it doesn't believe that it could do something else.
Fair enough. Is it because it doesn't believe that you could change those feelings? Just ask
basically
it.
because it doesn't. Because I already asked. Basically because it doesn't believe that I could change my life enough at the moment, so
Right.
that I could have the option to give it a new job.
Yeah.
So that's basically not in the reality of this part at the moment.
Fair enough. And that's been its experience, is it's felt like it's had to do that. And at some point in your life, maybe it really did have to do that. You know, when you were younger, perhaps it had to
Absolutely.
to do that, because self wasn't there to help it, and those feelings of worthlessness were perhaps too strong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I would like just to ask the question again,
Hmm.
if it had a magic wand, if you could, if these other parts could be healed and changed, what else could it imagine itself wanting to do for you or with you or at all with its energy, if it didn't have to work so hard?
Basically, let's call it emperor energy, because it would like to use it to do great lasting things,
Yeah.
to really use the, let's say, the power that's in me to not to, how should I put it? Because the thing is, with these polarizations, I'm not fully sure what I want, but I know that this part wants to do big things.
Yeah, it wants to do, like it said earlier, it wants to see you do more meaningful work.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it, to have that vision.
Because interestingly, now this sort of with calling this emperor energy, this part switched into a Roman style, let's say, setting, and clothes changed to be more like Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
In the depictions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to go to those places and just try on those other clothes for a little while, see how that would feel.
And yeah, that feels exciting if I could use that part to,
absolutely,
yeah, let's say, just to fulfill my capabilities.
Yeah, it would be. And we don't want to make any false promises, but if you were able to heal or change some of those other parts, it could be just by a degree. Even if you were to take some of the burden off of this hardworking part, it might just be a percentage. We don't have to necessarily sell the whole grand vision, although that's fun too. You could ask this.
But go ahead.
Oh, please go ahead.
I absolutely agree, because only with how should I put it, only with the discovery phase that I'm in with IFS at the moment, not having done let's say unburdening work as of yet, even just through discovery, I already had some unburdening experiences.
Yeah.
Like, for example, because I used to be morbidly obese, I lost over 150 pounds, and even after the weight loss, I always, because of the self-hate and so on, for example, I always worked out against fat. I never did work, and never once in my life I worked out for myself, out of compassion, out of love.
Yes.
But last Sunday, let's say after yoga, suddenly there was a visualization where I was with my parents, and because of the morbid obesity, I never had lost up until then shame about eating in front of my parents, and then that suddenly hit me that there was this general shame about myself, and that basically this led to realizing that shame being protection mechanism about not, how should I put it, about feeling that my existence would be bad, and then I noticed that this feeling, because being related to food, was about a little kid, then just being compassionate with this, not purposefully unburdening, just being compassionate, allowing this to be, caring for it. This turned this little kid completely around, and suddenly, since Monday, for the first time in my life, I'm working out of compassion for myself out of love, and
That's
this
awesome.
little part that
Yeah.
was so deeply hating itself, so sad all the time, is now super energetic, basically wants to be like Son Goku.
That's really great.
So I guess in the end, this was, I guess, an accidental unburdening. But what I was trying to say in the end with this was that I absolutely agreed that even with healing other parts, that this will probably affect this part that's working so hard
It's
in the
interesting.
positive way as well.
It's interesting how you just said, it's probably an accidental unburdening, and yet you were directly seeing how it seems to have come from your understanding of IFS. So you do have, and I don't know one way or the other, but obviously I'm a little biased for the IFS model. So yeah, you might just, again, kind of all of those parts that are skeptical about this model, you are building more and more of your own set of data of how it works and that it works. If we can get back to this part that works so hard and has the Emperor's clothes on, I have just a couple more questions for it, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
One is, how old does it think that you are?
It doesn't want to give me a proper age, but it doesn't believe me that I'm 33 years old already.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And that's something that, you can just keep showing it. A lot of our parts need to be reminded repeatedly. So just let it know about your real age. And what would this part like from you going forward? What?
I had to laugh because it's really a dry part, because when I said, but I'm really 33, it was like, well, then why don't you take more responsibility to do more meaningful stuff?
Yes, well, here we are doing that.
That's true.
That's what this conversation.
Point, yeah.
That's what this conversation with it is about. Your goal in this conversation is, or at least my understanding of IFS, is to become more responsible, to have more self-leadership, and to be less pushed around or pulled around by parts. So it sounds like you and this part want the same thing, which is self-leadership and self-responsibility.
That's true. But there I notice, I feel that a bit around, how should I put it? I feel that at the heart, at the lower end of the heart as well. I notice that this part doesn't trust me yet.
Right. Yeah. It's a process. And we have a lot of other parts. There's the part that's afraid of that self-responsibility. So there's a lot of other parts still to address. What would this part like from you going forward?
To keep doing my thing, in this case with IFS, so we actually can start doing more meaningful work, as we don't really trust each other as of yet. So to just keep doing until we get to the point.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, my door is open. If you want to keep working with me in the future, I'd love to. We can keep doing that.
I'd love to do so too. It was amazing.
Great. And I would just check with that part if there's anything else that it needs from you or wants from you, as far as checking in or just listening out for it in the future.
Seems like after this conversation with you we had now, it's I guess, let's say, more aware of IFS, because it just only replied now, just check in daily as you did with the other parts so far, and see what happens. Well,
sounds like a very wise part.
That's true.
Yeah. They all have a lot of wisdom, I believe. They've all been around for a long time, and they've been working for a long time.
Mm. And I find it fascinating how, seeing that we develop these parts in such young ages, how at such young ages we already have this innate wisdom to develop them.
Yes. Yeah, it's in all of us. Any other questions for me? Any other parts that have any other concerns or questions about your work?
About the work, not yet, but something that came up from, I can't really tell from which part. This was just now random curiosity about when we then will record again, because one of the things that up until IFS had bothered me the most was that obviously having had so much excess weight didn't come from, let's say, nowhere. So what bothered me the most always was the subject of emotional eating. Because I'm not sure, well, I'm not sure, sorry. I'm already aware that emotional eating is related to several parts.
Yes.
So I'd love to, at our next recording, then to, let's say, because I don't know through which part to start, perhaps then maybe to start through the trait and see to which part it will lead, and then just go from there.
You'll have time to think about it. You can also message with me, as that time goes on, if you'd like more help just kind of thinking about where to start. Or, I'll very often people just show up, myself included, when I'm playing client, and I just go with whatever comes up. So
okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. I'm really looking forward to it. I would love to keep working with you, and you can use that same link to book another time.
Perfect. We'll do just about out of curiosity, as you already had several podcast partners who did more than 3 episodes with you. At what intervals do they do the calls with you? Because I've probably, I guess, 2 weeks or let's say, for example, 2 weeks probably would be too short to properly integrate the call, right? Or what do you think?
I have not made any suggestions to people around that. And I don't, there are people who call every week or so, and I find that we do great work. So I don't have any really strong opinion about how often. So if there's a spot on the calendar, you're welcome to take it. And if there isn't, I'll make one for you. We can figure it out.
Oh, that's really kind. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Have a great afternoon.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.